Struggling black teen helps an old man on a cold night. Days later, a millionaire knocks on his door. The wind howled through the broken window panes of the tiny apartment, where 17-year-old Jamal sat huddled in his hoodie, flipping through a worn textbook by candlelight. His mother worked night shifts at a diner, and with the heating bill unpaid again, the winter cold crept into every corner of their lives. Still, Jamal refused to complain. He had dreams, of college, of becoming someone his little sister could look up to, and he was determined to make something of himself, even if the world seemed determined to make him fail. That night, he walked home from the library, his sneakers soaked through from the slush, his fingers numb despite being jammed into his pockets. As he turned onto his street, he saw something strange, an old man, hunched over a walker, standing alone near the bus stop. His coat looked far too thin for the weather, and his hands trembled as he tried to light a match for a cigarette. Jamal hesitated. He had finals in the morning. He was tired. But something tugged at him. Maybe it was the man's eyes, full of quiet pain. Maybe it was because Jamal knew too well what it meant to be cold and forgotten. "You all right, sir?" Jamal called, stepping off the curb. The man blinked, surprised. "Bus is late," he muttered, voice weak. "Been waiting an hour." Jamal noticed the man's fingers were red and swollen. Without thinking, he took off his own gloves and handed them over. "Here. Take these," he said gently. The man resisted, but Jamal insisted, helping him sit down on the bench. He gave him his water bottle, offered a granola bar from his bag, and sat with him, for nearly 40 minutes, until a bus finally arrived. As the driver helped the man up, the old man turned to Jamal, eyes glassy with emotion. "Thank you, son," he whispered. "You didn't have to stop." Jamal shrugged. Everyone deserves a little help. He never asked for the man's name. He didn't think he'd see him again. 3 days passed. Life went on. Jamal aced his exam, shoveled snow for his elderly neighbor to earn a few bucks, and helped his sister with her science project. His mother smiled more that week, proud of her son's quiet strength. Then, on Sunday morning, a sleek black car pulled up in front of their building. Jamal watched from the window as a tall man in a crisp suit stepped out. He knocked on the door. "Are you Jamal?" the man asked when his mother opened it. Jamal stepped forward, heart thudding. "Yeah, that's me." The man smiled. "My name is Alan Whitaker. 3 nights ago, you helped my father, Harold. He hasn't stopped talking about you." Jamal blinked, confused. "That old man, he was your dad?" Mr. Whitaker nodded. "He has early-stage dementia. He wandered off from his caretaker that night. We were frantic. You stayed with him. You probably saved his life." Jamal was stunned. I didn't do anything special." "You did more than most would," Mr. Whitaker said. "You gave him warmth, kindness, dignity. And you expected nothing in return." He reached into his coat pocket and pulled out a small envelope. "My father insisted we do something. This is a scholarship. Fully paid tuition, any college you get into. And there's something else." He stepped aside, motioning toward the car. "Come with me." Still in shock, Jamal followed him down to the street. Inside the car sat Mr. Harold, clean-shaven now, wrapped in a thick coat, eyes bright with recognition. "You gave me hope, man," the old man said, voice thick with emotion. "When the world feels cold, it's people like you that warm it back up." That afternoon, Jamal and his family sat in a restaurant they could never afford before, sharing lunch with the Whitakers. Laughter replaced the silence that once filled their home. Mr. Whitaker promised mentorship, internships, and most of all, belief in Jamal's future. Weeks later, Jamal's story was picked up by local news. Strangers sent letters, students at his school clapped him on the back, and his mother wept silently each night, not from worry, but from pride. Still, Jamal stayed the same. He didn't see himself as a hero. He just saw a man who was cold and scared, and knew that the right thing to do was stop. And in doing so, he changed his whole life. Sometimes, the smallest acts of kindness, a pair of gloves, a granola bar, the gift of time, can echo farther than we ever imagine. And sometimes, when you give without expecting, the world gives back in the most beautiful, unexpected ways. Because in a world that can feel harsh and indifferent, kindness still matters. And it can change everything.